Hello and welcome everybody to the Housing Tips. It's the show where we talk about housing information, housing news, and everything in between. I'm your host, Eric, and today I want to talk about buying in Southern California and how it's such a huge accomplishment. However, with such a large commitment, here are 3 tips that I wish I would have known when purchasing my property. And one thing I wanted to ask for before starting this video is if you can consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. I know it doesn't seem like too much, but it really truly does mean the world to me and to the YouTube algorithm gods. Tip number 1, supplemental taxes. Supplemental taxes are levied on a property as it exists on the date of the change in ownership or completion of new construction. For example, purchasing a property for $500,000 when its previous valuation was $100,000, that delta of $400,000 you have to pay taxes on. And without a doubt, that tax comes about 6 months to a year after you purchase a property, and by far it was one of the largest checks I had to write to date on my property. So after you sit there and you purchase the house itself, you're starting to buy furniture, you're just trying to figure out the utilities and the cost of the property. Being hit with supplemental tax was something that I wish I would have known way sooner, so I could have saved for the supplemental tax, because that is definitely one thing that I wish I would tell everyone, is that when you purchase the home, when you have that down payment, when you pay for everything, the closing costs, when you finally get the keys, start saving for that supplemental tax bill, because sometimes that drastic change and that big bill that comes in the mail for you for your supplemental taxes on a property is extremely hard to pay sometimes. And tip number 2, something you're definitely going to want to sit back and listen to, and that is the tip of repairs. My goodness, when I purchased my location, there were so many little tiny repairs that had to be done. And then besides that, there was actually big repairs that had to be done as well. For instance, my location, actually, I had to purchase and fix a leak that was happening in the slab of my actual condo, and that was something that was extremely expensive. And having known that at the beginning, I wish I would have changed things a little bit slightly. For example, one quote that I live by now whenever I look at new properties or looking to upgrade or buy something new is I always think about, there's a reason why the sellers are selling their property. Whether it could be just as easy as the price is maybe too expensive, they're looking to downgrade, or it could be something along the lines of, hey, the seller needs to have this giant repair coming up, and instead of them paying for the repair to continue living there, they pass it on to the new buyers as well. And that's something that definitely you have to think about and do your due diligence when you're looking at a property to make sure, hey, all the repairs that need to be done, these aren't going to be massive repairs, or if they are massive repairs, to either speak to the seller, or hey, this place needs a massive repair, it's going to cost XYZ, therefore you need to add that to your budget, because sometimes the repairs are very simple, but then other times they could lead to extremely expensive messes that happened. And that's something that I live by now, is that every time I look at a property, there's a reason why this property is for sale. And it could be something as easy as it was just too expensive, or someone's trying to downgrade or upgrade. But it could also mean there could be repairs in the background that you're not thinking about, and those repairs definitely begin to add up once you purchase the property. And finally, to sum up this entire video, is the final tip I want to talk about, and that is the tip of location means commute, not just proximity to attractions. And that is something I totally live by. When I looked at this property, something that I was really thinking to myself was, in the ideal world, on your day-to-day basis, on your every single day, what are you doing? Where are you driving to? If there's gyms nearby, if there's your favorite restaurants, if there's different areas that you're looking for, look at those things. Sometimes people don't realize this, but when you look at houses, especially on the weekend, you look at properties on the weekend, the commute doesn't seem bad at all. You think to yourself, wow, it's only 20 minutes away from my job. There's no traffic. It's such an easy commute. Or, hey, this location is really far from a major highway, major freeway, but it's okay. There's not that much traffic. You would be surprised how much, especially in Southern California, the commute looks different during the weekdays versus the weekday. For example, where I live on a major street. And if you take it on a weekday, there's tons of traffic, and sometimes it's going to add an extra 10, 15, 20 minutes to your commute. However, on the weekends, there is no traffic at all, and it takes almost instantaneously to get off the freeway, up the major road, and then to my property. But that's something to think about, is that when you're looking at a property, try to picture yourself, one, what are you going to look like on a day-to-day basis? And two, is there actually a way to see what it looks like on a normal day's commute? Or are you looking at it more on the weekend where you're seeing that there's no traffic and everything's lovely, everyone's staying home, everyone's out? That is definitely something to think about. And I definitely want to pass the question off to you. What do you think about these tips? Are there other tips that you're thinking about? Is there anything you want to know more about properties, about the market? Please let us know in the comments down below. But as always, I definitely want to say, if any of the information sounds of interest to you, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. I'm your host, Eric, and thank you so much, and have a great day.